Hey everyone, I'm Fozzie or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How you doing today, Will?
I'm doing great, Cam. How about you?
I'm doing really well. And before we really dive into this episode, I'd like to congratulate my co-host Will here for having an article published in the Napa County Times. It's an article about a singer-songwriter, Forrest Hill, who also happens to work as a meditation teacher and also happens to work as a financial planner, which is definitely a wide variety of jobs, and he also happens to have appeared on the Everything podcast. There are several live performances you can find that are exclusive to the Everything podcast from Forest Hill. He's great. I've met him down in Napa, California, while I was visiting my co-host Will, and he's just a lovely guy. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. I mean, especially based off this article, he lives a very interesting life. Obviously, he has many different paths that he's passionate about, and anyone who's passionate or has many passions, I mean, you gotta respect that, and I do. I think Forrest has one of the coolest stories ever. His come up to music, which he also actually ended up speaking to me about, is very interesting with him being in a band making kind of poppy rock music to transitioning to the sort of folk rock type of indie rock type of music that he's making now is fascinating, you know. And the fact that he also works as a meditation teacher is amazing. I mean, it's really fascinating, you know. And I was very impressed by this article. Well, it's like I said, it's in the Napa County
Yeah.
Times. It's called "A Life in Balance." Napa singer-songwriter Forrest Hill, who also works as a meditation teacher and a financial planner, came out on October 7th. Very impressed by this, Will. So check it out. Give it a read. It's fascinating, not only to support Will, but to learn more about this man who's just done some amazing things throughout his life and is means a lot to a lot of people down in Napa, and hopefully a lot of the viewers of the Everything podcast. But Will, how was your experience writing this article?
My experience, and thank you so much for all the kind words that you said there, Cam. Yeah, my experience writing this story was great because Forrest Hill, I mean, as you mentioned, he's appeared on this podcast and he really lives one of the more riveting lives of anybody that I know. Like, it's not every day that you're going to come across someone who is a musician, meditation teacher, and
For sure,
financial
yeah.
planner doing all three of those things at the same time. So, like the fact that you don't come across somebody who does all three of those things at the same time every day to me just makes Forest Hill, out of the people that I know, have really one of the more riveting and fascinating lives that I've ever come across. So when I heard that I was going to be able to write this story and get it published in the Napa County Times, I was super excited because right away my mind went to, okay, I know exactly how I want to structure this story. We're going to start with Forrest's music career and dive into his new album Beyond the Veil, which came out July 11th over the summer. Then we can go into his work as a meditation teacher with Napa Valley Insight meditation. Then we can go into his work as a certified financial planner and portfolio manager at Dodora Capital. And then, and this might have been the question that I was most fascinated to ask Forrest. I have a whole section at the end that's diving into how does he balance his life doing all three of these things? Is it stressful, or does his schedule align itself in a way to where he's easily able to fit them all in? I was really fascinated to be able to ask Forrest that question. And he answered it in riveting detail that can be seen in the story. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Cam, writing this story was great. I had a great time doing it because I love being able to dive into people who have riveting and fascinating lives, and I think it's hard to have a more riveting or fascinating life than Forest Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I make films, you know. I write screenplays and such. Um, and the best feeling is, and obviously there are different forms of writing. The best feeling is when you write when you're gonna write something and you know exactly how you're gonna structure it, how it's all gonna be put together. The worst feeling is having an idea here, but you just can't connect it, you know? You can't make it click. And the best feeling is when right off the dome, you can just think to yourself, wow, that just works. And yeah, I'm sure that's an amazing feeling to have. And like I said before, I encourage all of our listeners to check this out. I mean, it's incredible work here. I mean, Napa County Times, check it out. And if you also are still interested in Forrest, like I said, we have many videos of many live performances that he made very graciously for the Everything podcast. So definitely check those out too. There's some incredible performances on there, and I think he's just an amazing artist. He's very talented, and like I said, he's just one of the kindest people I met. So congratulations to Will. We all wish you continued success in this writing journalism industry, and very excited here to discuss any future articles you may write. Um, but anywho, what we're really here to what we're really discussing today in terms of traditional podcast content, we wanted to mention that an artist. I feel like we talk about Bruce Springsteen every single podcast at this point, but here we are, releasing the Nebraska box set under the name, what is it, Nebraska 82? Is that it?
Yeah, I think it's Nebraska 82 expanded edition, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and that is incredible because as a Springsteen fan, it Nebraska was originally meant to be an electric album, and this has some of that on there. So to listen to that is crazy as a different version of Born in the USA, which for even a non-Springsteen diehard, if you've heard Born in the USA, that's going to be something interesting for you. And I'm glad they release it now because of this, but because the movie's coming out so soon, it'll give people more context as to what to expect in the movie, you know, and it'll probably help, and it's good for us Springsteen fans, and it might help some people get more into Springsteen. But is it out yet, Will?
There was actually a Instagram post by Bruce Springsteen, or I guess I should say it was probably Bruce Springsteen's team
Yeah.
who put this out. But they said today, and this is very interesting. They say due to delays in production, the release date for Nebraska 82 Expanded Edition will be shifted back by 1 week. The set will now be available in all digital and physical formats on October 24th.
That's so weird. What could possibly be the reason for that? I mean,
Yeah.
I see musicians delay albums by a week, and you might ask what the reason for that is, but it's usually because music comes out on Fridays. You know, most every music comes out 12 o'clock on the dot Eastern time on a Friday, right? So a big reason for an artist to push something back is because another artist in their similar lane might be putting out an album. Like if Bruno Mars was putting out an album this Friday, but then Justin Bieber announced he's coming out with an album this Friday, Bruno might push that back. Just in terms of sales or whatever, you just don't want them competing, right? Um, which totally makes sense. This doesn't make sense at all. I don't even know if sales were a big issue for them, but they said production, so maybe they and like making the physical copies could be a possibility. I could see that being a thing. But really, I don't know, especially because they've already released the Born in the USA single, right? Which I listened to and I thought it was phenomenal, obviously. But yeah, interested by that, and yeah, I'm sure it was his team who posted that. Um, But yeah, sometimes I think about those, that live series of albums that Bruce has going on, like songs from
Oh yeah.
around the world,
Yep.
songs for romance. I sometimes wonder if Bruce really even knows those are getting put out? I feel like why would he care about that? I feel like that's sort of a label thing. And then that makes you think, does he even care about these live performances? But I just don't know. I personally haven't heard Bruce talk about that side of his music enough to say anything, which is weird because, like we said, I followed Bruce for so long, so I don't really know where he stands on that, which is weird. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to give this a listen. I'm sure you are too. All right, well,
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited to give it a listen. I will say this. When I first heard that this Nebraska box set was coming out, I said to myself, is this really a good time for it? Because we already got 7 albums, and I repeat, 7 unreleased albums from Bruce Springsteen earlier this year, on top of a Born to Run outtake, Lonely Night in the Park, and the Land of Hope and Dreams featuring uh, live performances from the
and
first night of the Land of Hope and Dreams tour.
he actually made an appearance at a Zach Bryan concert
That's right.
fairly recently, and Zach Bryan actually put out Atlantic City feature, which was performed live. He put that out on streaming with Bruce, which was awesome as well.
Okay, yeah. So that's yet another thing. So I was just like, when we've already had all this stuff from Bruce this year, in particular, the 7 unreleased albums, I was like, is this really time to come out with another box set with 4 discs worth when people already have 7 albums worth of Bruce Springsteen content to listen to this year? So that's one thought that came to my mind. But then I was also like, okay, Bruce is getting up there, in age, and he probably,
Yeah.
wants to be able to, have, the rights and control of his work, and he probably, wants things to be able to be put out, while he's still alive and while he can approve of them. So for that reason, I was I was able to pull back a bit on my frustration that this was coming out in a year when we already had 7 unreleased albums from Bruce Springsteen. And then, I mean, it's interesting that it's being pushed back a week. I don't know what the reason is for that, but in terms of the box set itself, I think as Bruce Springsteen fans, as hardcore Bruce Springsteen fans, I don't think we could ask for a better box set than this. So disc one
Yeah.
is going to be all Nebraska outtakes. I mean, who's not going to be down for that? Disc two is the Electric Nebraska. Disc three is Bruce performing the entire Nebraska album live, modern day. And then
What do you mean modern day? Did he record this for this box set?
yeah, he
Oh,
recorded it at a theater with no audience, I should say, but he
that's
recorded
crazy.
it. He recorded it live at a theater, and that's going to be disc three of this box set, and then I guess disc four, I think, is a remastered version of Nebraska. I don't really care.
Wow.
Yeah,
See,
I don't really. Yeah,
generally, I don't care about a remaster, but Nebraska is kind of an album I do.
right.
Because obviously that's part of the whole style of Nebraska, having that kind of murky, not low quality, but low quality sound, just because of what it was recorded on. But that actually a remastered version actually makes it more interesting because it'll have more clean, concise sound, and we'll be able to see if that kind of works for the album and it becomes better. Because oftentimes I'm listening to the remastered over some other projects or over original versions for some artists. But it might be different for that for Nebraska. We'll see if this cleaner version takes away some of the charm and grit that kind of made up Nebraska. But Karen, continue with what you were saying. Well,
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean, I agree that it'll be interesting to hear what the remastered version is like. But getting back to my initial point, like I just don't feel as diehard Springsteen fans that we could have asked for a better box set than this.
oh
I mean,
yeah,
he's already come out with his live modern day performance of Open All Night, and his voice somehow at 76 years old still sounds fantastic.
well, he's
And
singing all
then
the time.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yep, that's a great point. And then the electric Nebraska version of Born in the USA was really cool to listen to because it's from Electric Nebraska, but it's a different sounding Born in the USA than the Born in the USA on the Born in the USA album. Granted, it's recorded with the E Street Band, but it is a different sounding version of the song than the one that made it on the Born in the USA album. So
Definitely.
great hearing those two things. And again, I just want to repeat a disc worth of Nebraska outtakes, a disc worth of the Electric Nebraska, and a disc worth of Bruce Springsteen performing Nebraska live in a theater, modern day. Like when I'm thinking, and Bruce Springsteen has come out with some great box sets over the years,
Yeah.
but when I'm thinking of literally like the dream, the perfect Bruce Springsteen box set, I don't think you can get better than this.
Well, the only thing I think you could get better at with the box set is the tracks one that he just put out.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that you consider that a box set, right? That's a
I think you can consider it that, yeah.
I only say that because I mean I have like many full different albums on it, and that's still blows me away that he was able to release multitude of different unreleased albums, and they're all to be of a pretty similar area of quality, you know? They're all good albums. Like sure you can point out flaws here and there, but I was impressed with what I heard from that, and I'm sure I'm going to be impressed with what I hear that. And I can't the thing I didn't know was the new live recording in the empty theater. That's fascinating. So I didn't know that single came out either, where he performed it live. So I'll check that out right after the podcast. I'm very interested in that. I think disc three will get my first listen then because that's the closest at the moment to what we're gonna get to new Springsteen content, which, by the way, I think is very soon gonna happen. But sometimes I think to myself, I don't think we're gonna get another E Street Band album. I just don't. He tours with the band, right? He tours with them a lot. Obviously now he plays a bunch of shows overseas in the U.S. everywhere, and he made Letter to You, which would totally work as the last E Street album, right? That's
100%.
that's like the definitive final E Street album. So if they end on that, I'd be upset because obviously I want to hear more E Street Band Bruce Springsteen. But if you're gonna end it, I'm fine with ending it on such a high note and just such a perfectly fitting note. But moving on from Bruce, also actually not moving on from Bruce, we're very excited here for the Bruce movie. We talked about it last episode, but more updates once they come, more trailers or whatever. We're going to talk about them here because we're very excited. Anyway, moving on from that, our Patriots just beat the Bills. Well,
Yep.
I am just completely shocked, respectfully. It was a very close game. It was a very sloppy game. I mean, for the Patriots and the Bill, but mostly the Bills. There, that was one of the most flagged games of football I've ever seen. That there were flag after flag on mostly usually the Bills. Flag after flag. You had fumbles on fumbles. Our running back one really struggles to hold on to the football. That's not good, despite him scoring two touchdowns. I was just kind of blown away with how sloppy that game was. But aside from that, for both sides, aside from that, I am just thrilled. I think Drake May is the future of this franchise. I think he played phenomenally. He looks like a combo of, you got Justin Herbert and you got a little bit of Josh Allen in there, who he was playing, obviously. And obviously, Josh and Drake, I think, were the best part of that game. Obviously, I think Stefon Diggs played really well, and I just pray he's able to maintain that level of consistency and that the Patriots really keep him in that game plan as much as he was on Sunday night. I mean, I thought obviously he's still a fantastic receiver despite the ACL tear and despite him sort of being up there in age for a wide receiver. I wouldn't be totally surprised if they kept maybe added another year or two, because the way I'm looking at Stephon Diggs right now has me thinking, I don't think he's gonna retire after this year. He seems to be very invested in the Patriots. I watch videos of him in the locker room. He posted a live stream after the game. I see him speak to the players. He is hyped up. He has more energy maybe than when he was on the Bills even. So yeah, I have a lot of confidence in him, and I was worried at first because he obviously wasn't doing that great the first couple of games there. But I'm sure that was just readjusting to being back in the NFL after quite some time off, after injury, obviously a new playbook, and everything. I know there were some issues with him off season too, in the off season, so that probably impacted his play knowledge. But he's back. Stephon Diggs is back, and he's very lucky because he has one of the best quarterbacks in the game, dropping him dimes. Drake May is phenomenal when it comes to scrambling out of the pocket and delivering a really off balance, but end up being really accurate passes, especially one of the last plays of the game to kind of help obviously seal the deal was a play where Drake May was being grabbed by a very large lineman, way bigger than Drake, but he was still running. He was being dragged down, delivers a dime to Stephon Diggs, who makes a great catch and gets some really nice yards after the catch. And that's a big thing I've noticed with Diggs, the yards after the catch. It's something someone like someone in his age group like DeAndre Hopkins ish used to be phenomenal at. But DeAndre Hopkins, like I said, in his age group, I find is a lot slower than Diggs, and he used to be very fast, but he's a lot slower than he used to be. Um, so it's really good that Stephon Diggs is still able to get these very large gains after the catch. It's something you really want as a wide receiver, and I don't think having just Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas and Hunter Henry as your receiving core. I don't. I just, with all due respect to those guys, because obviously they're really ta talented people. I mean, especially Hunter Henry, who Tom Brady jokingly stated was the best tight end the Patriots have ever had. Um, so yeah, I think it's good that they have Diggs to get those extra yards, and I think that helps. In terms of running backs, we lost a good one, and Antonio Gibson will be out for the season, which is unfortunate. But I mean, he's played well for us this season. He's old. I don't know what his contract is, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come back, which is very sad because I think he's good. I think our team needs someone who's been in the league for a minute, and he has, especially. But I guess Ramondre has too, and that brings me to Ramondre Stevenson, who fumbled quite a bit. I didn't. He has fumbled quite a bit, and he fumbled early in this game. I was very upset. I mean, ultimately, it was fine because we won, and he scored two touchdowns. But still, he needs to focus on being more reliable than he is. I mean, and it also seems that our other running back, who's also supposed to be very good, Henderson, it looks like Coach Vrabel is scared to put him in the game because Travion Henderson is barely playing, and that's kind of upsetting. But if you can ensure me that Ramondre Stevenson will be a reliable player and he won't go crazy fumbling every single game, then I'm sort of fine with Travion Henderson taking his time and adjusting to a new team. But if Ramondre can't get his act together, then I think you're gonna have to speed up Travion Henderson's progress. But despite that, I think the things that Travion Henderson did do, he did well. I think he's a very talented running back, and I'd like to see him in the future. Um, but I thought the three-man running back game was actually really creative and smart. But we'll see what happens with just these two guys. But yeah, overall, thrilled that we took the win here. Very excited about that, obviously. Didn't think it would happen. I don't think anyone thought it would happen. I was watching the pregame. No one predicted it. But Will, were you excited for this Patriots win?
Yeah, I was thrilled. I mean, anytime that you can get a win like that when you weren't expected to get the win, it's just phenomenal. And look, I've been watching sports for a good number of years now, and I very much know the ups and downs of sports. Teams can play like the Patriots are playing and keep playing like that, or they can play like they're playing right now and then drop off. So, I've seen the ups and downs of sports, and I am open to all sorts of different possibilities for the rest of this Patriot season. But as a Patriots fan, there's no way that you can't be feeling good right now. It just feels
Ooh.
like they have finally gotten themselves back into a groove that they were really, really lacking these last couple seasons. And look, as much as I hate to say it, Bill Belichick had to go. Things just were not working with him, so I felt Bill Belichick and the Patriots' decision to mutually part ways was right. And then Jerod Mayo, look, nothing against him as a person, but he just wasn't doing it in his first season, and he didn't look like somebody who was suited to be an NFL head coach. So I think he had to go, and I think the decision to bring in Mike Vrabel, a trusted veteran NFL coach who's a former Patriots player, learned under Belichick, knows about that system. I just feel it was the perfect move. And with Stephon Diggs, I'm kind of having a case of what I had with Jimmy Butler with the Warriors earlier this year. I was so down on Jimmy Butler. I hated what he was doing during the end of his time in Miami when the Warriors
Oh
signed him
yeah.
out. When the Warriors signed him, I was just like, oh my gosh, is he just gonna come in and just be a locker room trouble? Nope, he's been a model citizen and an amazing teammate on the Warriors.
Kind of
And
like with
Stephon
Kyrie,
Diggs,
yeah.
for sure. Oh, wait, Kyrie Irving, great example of somebody who turned his career around in that manner. And Stephon Diggs, there was some chatter out there about him not being the best teammate. So I was nervous when I heard the Patriots signed him, but he's just been a model citizen and a great
Yes.
teammate during his time with the Patriots. So it just goes to show that you just never know. And sometimes people who you thought were one way can prove you wrong and prove to be another way and learn and grow. And that's what it seems like might be happening here with Stephon Diggs. And look, I think all we can ask for as Patriots fans right now is, we're not asking them to win a bunch of playoff games or win the Super Bowl. No, I don't think that's what any of us are asking. All I think we're asking is for the Patriots to just get their mojo back and be competitive again and maybe make it into the playoffs, or even if they don't into the playoffs, maybe have a record to where they're competing for the playoffs down the stretch, even if they don't ultimately make it in. So, I mean, look, we'll see what happens, but I really like where the Patriots are at right now. It feels like they've just gotten their mojo back, and it feels like even if they're a long way away from winning the Super Bowl, that they could be competitive this season. And that's something that's so exciting to say because they were about as far from competitive as humanly possible these last 2 years.
Yeah, it's thrilling, and I think a lot of it is due to Coach Vrabel's incredible coaching. I think he has that Bill Belichick, Patriots Bill Belichick sort of thing down and a little bit more modernized and refined. But on the topic of Bill Belichick, oh
Oh, ooh,
Well, oh.
ooh.
So, in terms of coaching, I was listening to someone who I really respect and like as a comedian, Bill Burr. He's a big Patriots fan, and you might be wondering, why are you talking about Bill Burr and Bill Belichick? Stay with me now. So, Bill Burr was saying, because obviously UNC's not doing good, but he's saying UNC was never a great team. Like they weren't really that good, So it's realistic that Bill goes in there and they don't do great. So I was like, yeah, you're right. Bill's not doing great, but he's still a really good coach. It's just he doesn't have a whole lot to work with. I was like, I'm fine with that as long as he keeps working hard and they kind of keep working hard. Then you think about his girlfriend, right? It's not a little weird. It's very weird. It's so weird. Um, then you find out about the Patriots stuff, banning Patriot staff members from UNC campus. And then you find out that he tells UNC not to post anything about Drake May. That's a problem, you know. That's not good behavior. And I everything this guy does, every move he makes, I lose more respect for him. And that's terrible because I thought he was a mastermind. The way he would coach games with such mental fortitude and the way that he would look like he doesn't care at all, but also make the smartest plays I've ever seen. And now this, I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I think he should get out of there so he doesn't taint his legacy even more. I mean, we had conversations about Tom Brady, post New England, but we were unhappy for sure. But this beats that out. This is way worse. And I mean, well, I'm sure you agree with me here.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's just be honest and say what you just said, Cam. Bill Belichick is a flawed person. Bill Belichick is far from perfect. This guy is a complicated individual. And look, I'm not denying his greatness as a coach. During a season when Tom Brady got suspended for the first 4 games, Bill Belichick started that season 3-1 without Tom Brady. When Tom Brady missed an entire season due to injury and Bill Belichick had Matt Castle as his quarterback, Bill Belichick went 11-5 in that season. Even though he couldn't put together full seasons of great play post Tom Brady, he did have great moments post Tom Brady.
Sure.
Case in point, with the Mac Jones season, he just couldn't put together a full season of greatness. So I'm not denying this guy's status as a coach, but something that a person who on the here on the podcast I like to refer to as he who shall not be named. He who shall not be named, I got to give it to him, did bring up a great point to me recently about not denying Bill Belichick's status as a great coach, but there's a legitimate question now of has the game passed him by? Can he relate to modern quarterbacks and modern players like he could to players from maybe 2000 to 2010 or 2010 to 2020? Is Bill Belichick and his very strict coaching style, is that the type of coaching style that's going to connect with college athletes from the social media generation and social media era? And look, I will never not say Bill Belichick is a great coach. Like when you've accomplished what he's accomplished, I'm never not going to say he's a great coach. But I believe he has never had more at stake in terms of his legacy than right now. You can't deny it. Tom Brady left the Patriots and won a Super Bowl in his first season without the Patriots, and then his next 2 seasons in Tampa Bay before he retired. He made the playoffs both of those seasons, too. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick, it got so bad post Tom Brady leaving the Patriots that Bill Belichick and the Patriots had to agree to mutually part ways. And look, if UNC had a 2-3 record, but their 3 losses were tight games that were down to the wire and close and competitive, then I would be like, okay, Bill is having an impact on UNC, even though they're 2-3. But let us take a look at the 3 losses that UNC has had: 48-14, 20-3, and most recently, 38-10. I mean, that is just embarrassing. Those are not just losses, those are annihilations. So, Bill Belichick has an incredible coaching resume. I'm not denying his greatness as a coach, but what I am questioning is what he who shall not be named mentioned of has the game passed him by? And I can't deny what's happened to him post Tom Brady leaving the Patriots. I mean, he and the Patriots have to end up mutually parting ways, and then he's 2-3 with UNC, and the three losses are not just losses but annihilations. I mean, I'm not denying this guy's greatness as a coach, but this is a bad, bad look for him right now.
I completely agree. I'm very disappointed with Bill Belichick. I feel like there's gonna this is his he's getting fired. He's not coaching at UNC next year. There's no way. UNC honestly, give them sense. UNC would be stupid to keep him on staff. I mean, you can't keep a baby like that on staff who's just a, I'm gonna say it as is. He's a creep. He's not making his best decisions. Um, he might he's getting up there in age, sure. I don't even know if that's playing really even an impact, but it's something to take into account. I think this is it, Bill Belichick, and that's sad, but it has to happen. He's just too destructive right now. But with that, thank you all very much for watching this episode of the Everything Podcast. And before we go, I urge everyone to check out Will's article, which is phenomenal. Like we said before, it is it is in the what is it, Napa County Times, is it?
Yep, you got
Yep.
it.
So check it out there. It's on Forest Hill.